Hi, class. We will be learning a new lesson today. It is about physical activity. Our goal for today is to make a commitment to be physically active. So, who here knows how to do jumping jacks? Awesome, great. Jumping jacks are a great exercise to practice in order to stay physically active. And along with jumping jacks, there are many more exercises that we could also practice to stay physically active. So if we reflect back on kind of what we learned before this lesson today, we should know what certain things are considered being physically active and what certain things are not. And with our lesson today, what we should get is we should know why it is important to be physically active. Being physically active goes hand in hand with a lot of things. If you are physically active like you should be, you will find yourself with more energy, you will be able to sleep better, you will have less chance of getting sick, you will also be happier and things like that. So what I have for you today is a worksheet that we will be working on together as a class. It is called Do You Know Your Exercise? And the directions read, for each action given below, write whether it is considered an exercise or not. If it is not considered an exercise, explain why. So if we remember how to determine what things are considered exercise or not, I know what I like to use is something called the talk test. If you find yourself able to talk during activity, it's either not exactly a physical activity, or you need to increase the intensity to get the exercise in that you need for that day. So for number 1, we have here jumping rope for 1 minute. Would we think that is considered an exercise? Yes, good job. Okay, for number 2, we have dribbling a soccer ball in between cones. Is that considered an exercise? It is as well. Good job. Number 3, we have eating potato chips. Is that considered an exercise? Well, can you talk while eating potato chips? I would say you can easily talk while eating potato chips. So I wouldn't think that is considered an exercise. Number 4, we have shooting a basketball 10 times. If you think about it, it would be a little more hard to talk while shooting a basketball 10 times. That would definitely be considered an exercise. Number 5, we have watching a movie. And even though we know we're not supposed to talk while watching a movie, it definitely is possible. So I would say watching a movie is not considered an exercise. Studying for a test, we also know that we can easily talk while studying for a test. We might not get a lot of studying done, but we can still talk. So I would say that is not considered an exercise. Number 7, we have playing frisbee. And if you think about that one as well, is it an exercise? Well, would you find it harder to talk while playing frisbee? Yes, it would be found harder to talk while playing frisbee rather than talking while eating potato chips. So playing frisbee would be considered an exercise. And number 8, we have sleeping. And although many of us may not talk while we sleep, we know that there isn't enough physical activity being done to be considered exercise because we're just laying there in bed. So sleeping would not be considered an exercise. Number 9, we have completing an obstacle course. And if any of you have completed an obstacle course before, you will know that it is much harder to talk while completing an obstacle course rather than studying for a test. So completing an obstacle course would be considered an exercise. And for number 10, we have reading a book. And we know that it is absolutely easy to talk while reading a book. So number 10, reading a book would not be considered exercise. Awesome. Great job, everyone. So if you could now flip your paper over, we will be creating goals for ourselves to make a commitment to be physically active. So we have made goals in the past. We should already know how to do this. Jot down a few short-term goals, and we definitely want one long-term goal. Keep in mind, while making goals, you need an amount of time that you will have that goal completed in, and you will also need the steps that you will take in order to complete that goal. So if you could do that for me, write your goal down on the back of your paper. Also, when that is done, go ahead and turn to your neighbor and discuss your goals with each other. Maybe give them some few pointers if they need it, or let them know what a great goal they have in order to make a commitment in being physically active. So after that, there is another little activity I have for this lesson today. Each corner in the room is numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 being in the middle, and at each station would be a different exercise. So I would then count off with my students to 5, separating them into groups, and they would then go to that station that correlates with the number they had been given. And with the corners, there would be an exercise in each. For example, 1 could be jumping jacks, 2 could be crunches, 3 could be push-ups, 4 could be mountain climbers, and 5 could be planks, maybe 30-second planks. And so you would let them do that exercise for about 30 seconds or so, and then they would all switch. So once each group has been to every station, that activity would be completed. And you would then ask them to go ahead and sit down at their seats. And so with all of that in our lesson today, one thing that we should take away is we should remember what activities are considered physical activities, what activities are not considered physical activities based off the talk test. And also we should definitely keep our goal in mind, our goal that we use to make a commitment to being physically active, because we should be getting in about 60 minutes of physical activity every day. That is very important. Also, if you at home with your parents or guardians want to educate yourself more on physical activity and exercise, you want to learn new exercises to do, you can refer to, there's kidsusa.gov, there's kidshealth.org, and there's PE Central. I know all of those have a plethora of videos and instructions about exercising and physical activity that could definitely help you in a great way.